What's good, y'all? This is Firebase and welcome back to another zombies tutorial. In this video, I'll be showing you how to build the RAI K-84 wonder weapon gun in Firebase C. Now this wonder weapon you actually need to do the Easter egg, or you can try this wonder weapon to kill a whole bunch of zombies, and there's a few steps to building this gun, but it's not too hard. But anyways, let's get on with the tutorial. First thing I recommend is to turn the power on. If you don't know how to turn the power on, there's a small tutorial on my channel showing you how to do it. Then once you have the power turned on, we can get on with the next step of the tutorial. Now the first thing we have to do is locate the blueprint in the back of the weapons lab. Now the blueprint is on the workbench in the far right corner, and to pick it up all you have to do is interact with X or square if you're on PlayStation. Then once you have picked it up, we have to actually go find a dead zombie and poke out his eye. Now this zombie is actually located at one of the battlefields. It's the Scorched Defense, just behind the main power area where you find Peck located in his little bunker. Now this dead zombie is located just right in the back of Scorched Defense, right next to a tank. Right there you can find the zombie, and the same thing, all we do is press X or square to interact with the zombie, and we're actually gonna take the zombie's eye out. So the squeamish can look away right now. Oh, a little bit too late for that. And then we take his eye out, and this is the first part we need. Now there's actually a spoiler right over here, so I'll actually let you guys experience this by yourself, but now we can make our way back to the weapons lab and do the next step for this tutorial. Now when we make it back to the weapons lab, all we do is take the eye and interact with the computer right over here, and you'll see it'll scan the eye, and then it's going to open up this drawer and then give us a locker key. Now this locker key we actually have to use in the barracks area with one of the lockers. And what happens, the locker key will open up a locker, then it'll spawn a mimic, and we have to kill the mimic to get the second part we need for the gun. Now there are lockers located in both these barracks, a couple on each one of the sides, and all we have to do is go and interact with the locker and a mimic might spawn. Not every locker will spawn a mimic, so it's okay, just try every single locker and eventually get a mimic to spawn. And when a mimic spawns, you just have to kill the mimic and then it might drop the part. You might have to kill 1 or 2 mimics to get the part, so just keep opening lockers until you kill enough mimics to get the part. Then once we have the part, we can make our way back to the weapons lab and then get the next part done. Now in the weapons lab, we have to go back and use the computer. Now the computer is going to spin around an arc in different random spots, and they're going to be different than my game than yours. Now these points, when it stops, correspond to a dartboard located back in the spawn area. Now this dartboard is what we're going to need to get the second part, so all we have to do is interact with the computer with X or square with PlayStation, and then we're going to get random spots on the computer. So we're going to see it's going to go around. Then eventually it's going to stop in a certain spot. And then when it stops, what I like to do is pause the game and then make note of it, just to make sure I know what spot it stops at. I usually take a picture or I can write it down, but you can see it stopped in the 12th position. Now it's going to stop 2 more times. And perfect, you can see it stopped at the bottom, and that corresponds to 3 in the dartboard. Now it's just going to stop 1 more time. Perfect, it stopped 1 more time, and it stopped in the 16th position. So these are the positions I have to use for my dartboard, and again, they're going to be different in your game, but just use the dartboard as reference for your game. Now that we're back in the spawn area in the courtyard, what we have to do is run over to the perks machine, and you notice there's a dartboard on the wall. Now this dartboard actually corresponds to all the stops on the computer. You may have noticed that it stopped in certain parts on the computer, and those are the parts that we have to shoot on the dartboard. So what we have to do is just shoot the numbers which our computer stopped on, then actually shoot the center of the dartboard, and then it will open up and give us the second part we need for our rifle. So I'll just shoot the numbers right now. 12, 3, and 16, and then we shoot the center. And then it's going to open up, and now we get the second part we need for our rifle. Now for the last part, we actually have to wait for a mini boss to spawn to get the final part from him, and we actually have to shoot the gun out of his hand, and I'll show you once a boss spawns. So a couple rounds has passed and a mini boss has actually spawned. It's this boss right over here. So what we want to do is actually aim for that gun in his hand. And then when you shoot that gun off, we should get the third part for our rifle. And you'll notice that he actually dropped the third part for the rifle, these power cells. And we have to take these power cells and actually bring them back to the weapons lab. And with the power cells, we actually have to recharge them like the doctor just said. And to do that, we put them in this little charging cell there. And then I don't know if it's round base, but it seems to take a couple rounds, maybe 2 or 3 for them to charge. So after 2 or 3 rounds, we can actually go back to those power cells, and then we can get the last part for the rifle and build it. So it's been 2 rounds and the power cells have charged, so you want to take this and bring them back to the workbench. And now we can craft the RAI K-84 Wonder Weapon. We actually need this Wonder Weapon to the Easter egg, and there'll be a tutorial on my channel for that Easter egg coming out if you want to check it out. Anyways guys, that's going to do it for the tutorial. Let me know how it was so I can improve on the future tutorials. But it's been 5-5, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ooh. Okay, now what do I do?